And now we're sitting down with John Barclay, who is the CEO of Southwestern Insurance Group. We're going to talk a little bit about how the MGA view is of what you're seeing at NICC. So thanks for sitting down with us, John. And how's the conference been for you so far?
It's been really enjoyable just seeing what the insurer capital providers have to go through, their industry issues. So as a product manufacturing capacity building business as ours, understanding what they need, what they're looking at helps me understand what those conversations can be.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your view from Southwestern Insurance Group. What are you seeing when it comes to MGAs and some of the trends right now? You know, there's been a lot of movement in the marketplace. There's consolidation. There is more MGAs popping up than we know what to do with, smaller sizes. Southwestern Insurance Group is a long-standing one. You've been around for 60 plus years. You've been a solid entity in the Canadian marketplace. What's your view on the landscape right now for MGAs?
I think it's actually really, really exciting because as the retail standard insurance companies get bigger and bigger at scale, the creativity to solve those little pockets in the marketplace that are still tough to place, or you need really focused underwriting talent, that's where that secondary market really comes into fore. So it's product development, it's problem solving. Sometimes the insurer has the balance sheet for it. They've got the risk appetite for it, but that little part of the market's not big enough for them to justify their investment to go against it. So, our marketplace provides the talent for opportunistic market nodes or for areas of risk where insurers are saying, not yet, not ready, not now. And then that's where the MGA, MGU space comes in and problem solves. So I think it's the most the most creative part of the marketplace.
It is, and it's definitely the most diverse, and there's a lot of changes going on in it, and it's become a necessity for the distribution channel now. You can't really function with a few core insurance companies. You can pick on names, but the big ones, national companies and even some local mutuals, depending where you are in the country, without supplementing your products with MGAs. You wouldn't be able to serve enough clients to make your business viable if you're a broker. That's how important the MGA landscape has become for brokers right now. And I say that as a former broker. When you look at things like technology, do you think MGAs are being a little bit bypassed in the technology front when it comes to InsurTech? It seems you're either the technology money and the investment seems to be focusing on the carrier side or focusing on the consumer side, right? Do MGAs get enough love from the InsurTech side?
It's not so much love, it's just part of the value chain of insurance. And so that rate, quote, bind, issue, data mart, report, analyze, they're all in the components of these different type of systems. So as long as they're cloud-based, roughly open source modular, you can go into that market space and find solutions. So InsurTech, FinTech, as they build out their stacks, as they get closer to full stack, you can get those modules. So it's not about being overlooked or not looked, it's just in that value chain, you can find the components you need.
It's sort of like picking out of a big bag of Lego.
That's right.
You got to build the right pieces in. So how has your tech journey gone with Southwestern Insurance Group? Have you guys undergone some transformation, and how has that been?
Yeah, we've went through a few. So, at one point we had, 3 operating companies. We're down to 2. So trying to get the technology to run through both. Then you've got your legacy systems. So unlike a lot of the very creative recent entries to the space where they have no legacy, in a way 60 years old, we've got legacy. So it's been a funny journey. But what's been kind of challenging but fun is the ability to say, let the old system go on a new journey, find a new platform, but like everyone else, takes twice as long, twice as much. And just as you finish section 2 of your build, someone comes out and says, oh, I've got the new widget. So as long as you continue to iterate and invest and don't get married to your code, I think that would be the thing. Don't get married to it.
Talking to a number of different NGAs in Canada and in the United States, I've seen a lot who have started in certain systems and then said, well, once we figured out where our specialty niche and our expertise lay, we ended up building our own system.
Yeah.
And because as you said, they focused on a class and a niche that made sense to them, and there was opportunity, and they could do it well. Yeah. And that's where they sort of said, I don't need the out-of-box based solution. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting angle to MGAs. As you do become more specialized and find your space in there, you're probably going to need something that addresses your individual needs as an underwriter.
Yeah, I think you'll need a few things. You need core accounting, you need core analytics, but in terms of a product or an industry segment, you could literally go offline, build a really specific platform for that. As long as you got the APIs, you can connect back to your core system. So as long as you've got that flexibility, you can be a little bit more adept and nimble. You can be quite nimble. That's the other part with our marketplace. It can be really creative, really nimble, really fast.
Yes.
And it's light on the balance sheet to come into the space.
Yes.
Because we're not risk bearing.
Exactly.
And then if you can, depending on your capital partners, you can develop different flexibility that way in terms of where you put or lay off your risk. But because it's not a balance sheet heavy business, it's really an intelligence business. Yeah. So you're either product manufacturing, your distribution, your insurance, your systems driven in terms of efficiency and process. So you've got to have two or three flavors to your business, I think, to be successful.
Yeah, that's a very good point. One of the other things I think has been really successful for MGAs has been a much more prominent association, and that's CAMGA. We had Steve Masnick on yesterday talking about CAMGA. How has that helped the MGA brand and sort of consolidation of an industry to go forward as one entity? Because there are different regulatory hurdles across this country for MGAs. And have you found that CAMGA has helped navigate some of those problems, particularly maybe for the less established ones, unlike yourself?
Well, I think the code of ethics, the one industry voice to the different regulators. Yeah. Just like the brokers channel, the distribution channel, every province is a regulator. They all do it a little bit differently.
Yes.
Then you've got insurance companies, and then the MGA space sits in the middle. Yeah. So I think the regulators had a tough time understanding what we did. Are we retail? Yes. No. Are we an insurance company? No, we're not risk bearing. So having one voice talking with engaging with each regulator, and at least getting the understanding of what our industry segment does, roughly the same, I think helps elevate our industry in the regulatory framework. I also think it helps on the distribution side. Yeah. Having the broker channel have a bit more faith and understanding in the MGA space in terms of the value proposition, why to send a submission, why that solution's worth pursuing. So I think it's helped elevate a little bit more credibility to the segment. Yeah. And as you noted earlier, it's a segment that's growing.
Yes.
Right? So as we grow, having that footprint that says, this is who we are, this is how we operate, this is the way in which we engage with the insurance industry, having a common voice, I think, will help make it more sustainable over time.
Fantastic. John, thanks so much for sitting down with us. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and hopefully we can catch up in the future and have some more great chats.
Appreciate you having me.
Thanks so much.